Hi everyone, this is Ida of Created to Create. I'm back with part 2 on how I made these flowers. I'm sorry I had to cut the other video short like that. I had a maintenance guy come in and the dog gets pretty loud and you wouldn't have been able to hear me. So anyway, let's finish up this poinsettia arrangement. We already shaped. I showed you how I inked and how I shaped the poinsettia. For the leaf, it's going to be the exact same thing. It just depends on how dark you want it. I want mine a little light because of the poinsettia being pink. So I'm going to use the cracked pistachio for the oxide ink for that. But you can make it as dark as you want. But this is what I'm going to use. Again, I'm just with you can use an ink dauber, a piece of sponge, a blending tool, whatever you want to use. And then I'm going to wet it. Do the same thing that I did with, you know what, I think I'm going to add a little bit of the darker green. Just a tad, not too much. Just a little bit, like closer to the center. One thing I do want to say though, that when you're making a bunch of flowers for Happy Mail, make sure you do them, color everything at the same time. Like if you're doing all the petals, do all those at the same time. If you're doing all the winterberries or hollies or whatever you're doing, do that all at the same time, because I found that when I came back to finish a third one, because I was missing a piece, that when I was coloring them, the color wasn't the same because I had skipped a step. So make sure that you color everything at the same time. That way you avoid those problems. So I'm just going to take my mister again and I'm going to spray this. This one, and then I'm going to take my heat tool and I am going to dry it. I apologize for having to turn off that other video like that, but really the dog was being really loud. So I'm just going to dry this. And it's not, like I said, you don't have to toast it or anything, but you do want to dry. This one I did wet in the back, so I'm going to dry it a little bit more. I love it when you add two different inks and you can see the ink separation, like you see a little bit of yellow green and then you see the other green on here, the different shades of green. And I love it when you can see yellow on the edges. I think that's pretty good. See, it doesn't take much to dry them. And I'm going to wipe my surface. So I'm done with all the inking because I did pre-do the other ones. And I used the same technique. I did do my winter berries again in a darker color. And for that I used this. And I didn't use any other color but this. But I made it dark, like darker at the bottom. And then I went in with, I wish I had some pan pastels, but I don't have any. I went in with this chalk paint, and down the center line, let me show you. After I had used the oxide inks on it, I folded the leaf back instead of to the front the way they go. And I got my little, let me grab my little sponge here. And I got the dark green. You can do this one or this one. I think I did this one right here. And all I did was go down that center line to highlight. Oh, sorry. I used the dark green to just go down this center line and highlight it a little bit more. And when you shape it and add the the Glossy Accents, it kind of tends to blend and give you that darker color there. So that's all I did different. But if I had pan pastels, that's probably what I would use. Because I'm sealing it, it's okay to use the chalk paint. But if I weren't sealing it, more than likely that might be able, you might be able to rub that off. Not completely, but somewhat. So that's the only thing I did. And after I did that, I'm going to show you how I shaped these. To shape the winter berries. And I did shape them before I added the Glossy Accents. I folded them back to the front. And then I turned it backwards the way I did the other ones. And I did basically the same thing. I just pulled those tips in with the round ball tool. With my other tool, it does have like a different shape of tool that I used. But since I don't have it, the ball tool will work. And then I just kind of flipped them back up and bent them. I mean, you lose a little bit of the shaping you just did, but not too much. And then of course I would add Glossy Accents. On mine I use this diamond glaze because it is I've had it a while, and I know I used it on a project. Let me share that with you. And because it's old, it gives it like a vintage look. And I'll share the projects that I'm still waiting on something to finish these up. So I used it on this little wooden mug, and I thought to kind of, sometimes when you add Glossy Accents to a real small sentiment, it magnifies it, you know, and I thought that would do the same, the diamond glaze, and it kind of did, but because it was older, it looks more vintage, more yellow. It didn't dry up as crystal clear as I would have liked it to. And then on this one, I used a brand new bottle of Glossy Accents, and look at the difference in the clarity. Here is the Glossy Accents, and here is that old diamond glaze. So as you can see, this one's a lot clearer. But that's what I was working on. But anyway, because it gave it that more vintagey, darker look, that I decided to use it on these. And look at how pretty they look when they're all glazed up. So let's shape this leaf. I'm going to go ahead and take my piece of chipboard, if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. And we're going to shape the leaf the exact same way that we shaped the other. So I'm going to take my, if you don't, I'm going to list a tool set that I want to get. I don't have it, but I'm going to list it anyway. So if you guys can get it, that way y'all, want it, you can get it. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to make those lines. And I don't go all the way to the center of my flower. I go like to the end of the leaf. And that's it. And make, oh, I went a little crooked there. And make my line. And I like to follow the curve of the leaf. So now I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing on the back. And this is, you shape it the exact same way that you do the colored ones. The way we did the pink ones. We're going to do the exact same thing. Except that this one's green. Now, if you wanted to shade in the extra petals, you can either do them in the pink or the green. You would do the same thing. You would draw the line down the middle, shade them the color you want, and then do the little veining like I'm doing here. So it's the same thing. But you see, like, this is a very time-consuming process, and if you're going to do flowers to sell, you want something that you can just that you have to do as little as possible to them, because then it would take too long for you to make them. So let me move that, and we will shape this one as well. Like, I'm not going to use my tweezers because this is the bigger leaves, and I'm just going to use my finger to this. With this one, I'm pushing down, and with these two, I'm pulling up. and I will turn it to the back, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to curl it, and I am applying quite a bit of pressure. Now the other tools that I'm going to recommend are similar to this. They have the whole barrel. It's like one piece. You can't exchange them out or anything. It's several tools, and I think that will last longer than the one that you swap out, because the one that you swap out, they're made of plastic. Not the actual shaping tools, but the little barrel that inserts into the main tool. So I'm going to flip this over, and that one's done. That is done. So let's put it together. And I do have a little sponge here that I got out of some packaging, and I like to use this to when I'm gluing down. So we're going to do the green one first, and I'm just going to add a little glue in the center, and this is pretty dry, so they are going to stick. So I'm going to do my first petal. And I can push it down the center to maintain that cup shape because I have it on top of a foam. I'm going to add more glue to the center and add the second layer. I keep dropping things. What's wrong with me? And there, you know, you're going to have to find the way, I think, maybe this way. I mean, there's a way this way. If you keep turning your flower around or your petals around, you'll find the best placement for it, because you do want to offset the petals. Okay, so there's that. Now let's add the last layer. So it only really takes two of the colored larger ones, one of the green for the leaves, and then one of the small ones in the color to complete the poinsettia. So you don't need a whole lot for sure. And I'm going to set that down, hopefully in the center, and press it down with this tool. Because see that these tools like this that is embedded into the handle, I can apply pressure and I don't have to worry about them breaking. And the other one really, I mean, I love the tool, but it's not made right. So there it is. So let's add the stamens to it. I already have mine pre-done, and all I did was use the sponge dauber, and I did color them on both ends. So you're going to need all three pieces, and they do all come in one plate, and you cut them all out at the same time. So I'm going to take these three pieces here and shape them so we can use them. And I did do berries on both sides, front and back. You don't have to. On the longer one I did, on the small, real small one I didn't, and on the on this little strip I did. So just on two of them I did the berries on both sides. So I'm going to take a quilling tool, and I'm going to, if those of you don't know what a quilling tool is, it actually has a split, and it's made to coil paper or quill paper. Let's see, this is pretty thick paper, so I'm not sure I can get it to grab it. I have two different ones, maybe the other ones, and I'm not sure which one is the one I used before. Let me try this one. So it's got to be open enough that it will take the paper. I think it's this one. Come on. Yeah, or you can use your tweezers, but I like using my quilling tool because I don't like to get glue in my scissors. So I got it in there now, guys. So it's in between the slit that's in that barrel, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue, not to the very beginning but back here to the end, because I want to try to avoid getting glue on my tool. And all you're going to do is you're going to roll this by just turn this, and you'll roll it. It'll start to roll like a little tube. And I'm going to hold it for a little bit, make sure it's set. And I'm going to turn on my hot glue gun because I know I'm going to need it. Okay, so that's pretty much all the shaping, guys, but as you can see, it's a process. So I'm going to add glue to the center. Add this piece. I think she said it was called a brax. So I'm going to add the center. I would have called it Stamens or something, but she said it was called a brax. It doesn't feel like it's in the middle, like it's off to one side. Okay. So there it is in the middle. Now I'm going to add the small one. Not the one we coiled up, but the small one. And I'm going to insert that in the middle and use my tool to press it in there. And then I'm going to add more glue and add the last piece, the one we coiled up, to the center. And if you want to do this one with hot glue, it's probably better because it will set really well for you in the hot glue versus trying to hold it to get the glue to set a little bit. So I'm going to hold it for just a minute. So I already have all my greens done, all the foliage for my flowers, and we're going to go ahead and put that together. I'm going to set this one aside in my little sponge. Make sure it's not stuck. Sometimes I tend to get glue on it. So here is my foliage. Here are the extra petals already painted in green. I mean in pink, and there's a green one. And here are the mistletoe and the winter berries. You're going to need 2 of each. And then here are my berries. One in the green. This one I did both front and back. And we're going to finish putting the pearls on this one in a minute. But I'm just going to start the process. So the first thing, these I colored exactly the same way, guys. Just sponging some oxide. If you're good with alcohol markers, then you can do that. I'm not really good, but I do like to mess around with them. And I'll start adding color and try to blend and all that, but I'm not real good at it. The only thing you're going to do here, you're just going to do one line down the center, and you're going to give these a little shape. You're going to crease them down that center where you put that little score mark or veining. And I'm going to add glue to my to one, and then this one is going to overlap on that one. And I pretty much already have it down to how far I want to line them up. Let me move you over a little bit, that way you can see what I'm doing and bring you in. Okay, so I use this as a guide really, and I'll use my previous flower to make sure that these are not sticking too far out. That's pretty good right there. So there's one. All I did was add the glue to the one stem, and I crossed the other one over. I'm going to do the winterberry. Now for this, I did not use the glossy accents on the back because I want to make sure that it's going to stick. So I'm just going to add glue because I don't have that slippery or shiny coating on the back. It's just paper. So I'm gonna just line it up right where I want it, and I'm gonna do the same thing to the other one on each side. Like, these are very pretty, but there is a lot of detail, but it is worth it, especially if you're giving it to one of your really good friends. You know what, I'm not even gonna say that. because it doesn't matter how well I know a person, because there's some ladies here on YouTube that I have become friends with, and then there's some that are just acquaintances, but I've swapped with them before. You know, I really like them. I don't know them that well, but I do like them. So no matter who I'm sending happy mail to, if I'm going to send happy mail, I'm going to do a good job, or I'm going to try to at least. So now I want to add a little lift in between this mistletoe and the holly. And how I did that, I found these glue dots in my drawer. They're probably really old and they're clear, but they're very, very tacky. So I took one of these. This is going to be a nightmare, I know it already. I took one and I kind of put it where I wanted it, behind my, I'm actually going to fold it in half. Look, see how it doesn't want to let go of my tool? Now it doesn't want to let go of my finger, so it's a nightmare to work with these. But what I like about them is that they're clear, so they're not real noticeable. And what I did to keep them from being tacky and sticking to everything on the bottom is that I added hot glue to the back, to the exposed areas. But see how the leaf now stays up? Because I added that clear dot. So we're going to do the same on the other side. And we're going to add another one. And I am going to fold it in half because I do want it to have lift. This one wasn't too bad. And we're going to cover that. You're not even going to really see that. But right now I'm going to add glue to the back, to the exposed areas. Just hot glue. So when it touches my countertop, my glass mat, it's not going to stick to my glass mat. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it flipped over for a minute. Now, let's finish the berries while that's drying. So to do the berries, again, I just used the dauber and painted them whatever color I wanted. So whatever shade of green you want to do is fine. It's your project. And I had found these at the dollar store, and they're very tiny pearls. The only thing is that they're connected this way, they're not connected this way, but in strips. So the easiest way for me to use these was to cut the strip off. And that way my dots are not connected. I cut them along the long way where they weren't connected. And I will put these back in the package. I really like the size of these. They're very, very small. Perfect for doing berries. So because mistletoe has white berries, you can use pearl drops. You can use whatever you have, but I'm going to use these little pearls because they are the perfect size and they are adhesive. So I just use my pokey tool to pick them up. And we're just going to add one to every one of these little, you can see where a berry should be by the shape of the die cut. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to start adding. And I pre-did some of it because it's a little time consuming. So I know you guys didn't want to just be watching me add these berries here. Although sometimes some of these things are very relaxing. And so that's all I'm doing. I'm adding berries to the berry stem right here. I guess that's what you would call it. One more. And the mistletoe branches also have an area, so this should be dry already. It shouldn't stick to my counter, my glass mat, and it doesn't. If you notice, the mistletoe has two little dots here where berries should go. So I'm going to go ahead and add the berries here. I really love these dies, guys. I have no complaints. Even though they don't have stamps to them, it's not even necessary. So there's 2 more on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and add the berries on this side. And it's already looking pretty, and we don't even have the flower on there yet. So there's that one, and I will put the rest of these away. So look at how pretty that is looking, and we don't even have the flower on there yet. So what I'm going to go ahead and put on next is the flower, and I am going to add hot glue to the branches right here to add my flower. And now I'm going to add my flower. Look at how pretty that is. And I like to fluff up my flower after I do that. This one's been rolling, not really rolling, but when I get done, I usually just kind of smash them in. I mean, I don't want them to lose all their shape, but I do like to fluff them up. I can see that this glue dot is sticking out here, but I'm probably going to put berries there and you won't be able to see it. But there is almost the finished flower. So now I'm going to get the white berries, and the way this section's off, these 2 short ones that are together, I'm going to snip them apart, and I'm going to leave 2 together and then the one by itself. So here it is together. I just snipped off these 2 branches and then left this one. So this one that's like this, I think I'm going to go ahead and put it, well, it doesn't matter what side you put them on. Really, just find a spot where you want them. Maybe I'll add those here. Nope. I'm going to add them on the other side. So just kind of add glue wherever you need it to add it to your project. I think I want mine here. I have glue all over my glass mat. So I'm going to add it to this branch right here. So I'm going to add glue there. And I'm going to hold it down with my tool for a minute. Maybe turn it a little bit. It's stuck to my mat. So there's one, and I'm going to add the other one over here somewhere. Maybe here. And I'm going to just hold it for a minute so it'll glue down. So there are my white berries already in place, and we're going to do the same thing with the green ones. Now typically what I do when I put the bigger piece of white berries on this side, I'll put the bigger piece of green berries on the opposite side. So we are going to do the same thing with this. We're going to cut it like we did the other one, and we're going to have a short piece and a long piece. So this piece, I'm going to add it by right here. And you know, I don't even have to add any glue because remember I told you that glue dot was sticking out? Well, that glue dot is very, very sticky. So I don't have to add anything but just put it on top of that glue dot. Now you don't see the glue dot. So now let's add glue to the other portion. And let's add it in here somewhere as well. So, you know, you just want to position those wherever you want them. I always have a bunch of tools on my counter, guys. I am one of those people that loves tools, and I use them. My tool is getting caught up in the glue dot. So there it is. So let's say I would feel like this, I need a petal somewhere. So what I would do, you take the extra one, you did shape it like you would your other ones, and wherever you feel that you need another petal, then you just glue it in there. I think this one needs one down here. So even though there's the glue dot there, I'm still going to add glue, because these are basically what these are fillers for wherever you feel that your flower needs another petal. So there's one. So always make extras. Here's a smaller leaf. I don't really think I need anything anywhere else, guys. It looks pretty good. These are nice and lifted up. I like the way these are lifted up. So all I'm going to do to this is I'm going to add my, I said it was from Basil the other day, but it's basic glitter glue. And you can find some of this at like Dollar General or Family Dollar. Sometimes they carry this type of glue. And I just add a little bit, just here and there. I don't add too much. Like, I don't want it to be all sparkly, just a little bit, like on the tips. Maybe some in here. Just a little bit. A little bit on the green. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So there is my finished flower, guys. I hope that this helped you. Let's bring in the box that has all the other ones. I hope that this helped you. Look how beautiful they are. I hope that this helps you and gives you ideas what to do with your flowers. Now, I'm going to take out one of the ones that are dry. You could go in and add, let's say I wanted to add a rose bud or something. I could go in and tuck this in there and, you know, add a rose bud to the sides if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that to these, but if you wanted to add roses, I mean, you would fix them better than that, but you could go in and tuck in other things, maybe some pine needles. You could go in and tuck some of those in. Like, you could pretty much add whatever you want, maybe some smaller poinsettias in a different color. You could add them in and make your cluster a little bit bigger, but I want to leave mine like these. Sometimes I feel like less is more, and in this case, I think they look just about perfect the way they are right now. So thank you so much for watching. I hope, like I said, that you understood what I said, everything that I did. If not, I hope I was in view in the center of the camera, the perimeter of the recording, that you could see everything that I was doing. But pretty much this is what they look like, and it is a lot of detail, but it is worth the work. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I will link whatever I can find in the description box. Normally I shop on Amazon. I'm going to be very honest, because I'm still being careful because of COVID, so I don't stray from the house too much. So I do a lot of my craft shopping right now on Amazon. Anyway, I hope that you like what I created and that you try it. Thanks for watching. I hope everyone is having a great day, and God bless. Bye.